Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Sports Shorts Monday. Ronnie Rantz alongside Tommy Krysan. A lot to digest this past weekend in the world of sports. TK over at Court Street Cafe in Port Allen, home of great breakfasts, but also some great eats. TK expanding his palate because he's been eating breakfast over there for years, and now he gets to eat dinner every week. I'm at an undisclosed location in Lake Charles, Louisiana, representing the Gumbo Gators. And, of course, the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame got some big news. Go check it out at lasportshall.com. We have a celebrity golf tournament that we hope to see at in May up in Alexandria. So go check it out at lasportshall.com if you're a golfer or want to come to the party, the pre-party the night before. All right, Tommy, LSU baseball, 2 weekends in a row, the Tigers look like they are out. They are going to lose the series. Monday morning quarterbacking is going to start. The end of the season is near. They're down 7-0 a week ago to Kentucky at home. They end up winning that game 17-10. They are down 5-0 yesterday in Tennessee, and they come back and tie it up and then win in extra innings, score 10 runs in the 12th to win 16-6. Something about this team, man. This is a good sign. They're not perfect. They've got some issues. What are they going to do at first base defensively? Still catching's not perfect, but this team has found some kind of magic, Tommy. They went up into Knoxville, won a series up there. They hadn't done that in a long time, and they've shown some serious moxie with 2 mega come from behind victories. And even you go back to Jacksonville, they were down 7 runs or something in Jacksonville, game 1 of that series or whatever, and came back and won that series. So, won that, swept that weekend. So this team doesn't look perfect. They got a lot of warts, but they might be figuring some things out.
Well, one thing they do have is if you fall behind, they think, hey, we've done this before. Let's come back. Let's chip away. Let's get some big flies, whatever it might be. And that stuff runs through the dugout, as you know. And, so that's a good thing. Hey, Jay Johnson gets tossed yesterday. Maybe he should have got tossed a couple of weeks ago because they erupted after that. And, that was one of the worst calls. All umpires miss calls, and they're right far more than they're wrong. There's no way anybody on earth, the Tennessee pitcher was laughing. And did you read Jay Johnson's lips? He told the ump, that pitcher's laughing at you right now. Did you see that? Because the kid he had a smirk on his face because he knew the ball was this far low, And so anyway, so he gets tossed. Now, they did say because he left the field in a very timely manner, there's no suspension. If he wouldn't have, the rule is if they can say you didn't leave quick enough or you took it too far, then you can get suspended 4 games. I mean, that would be huge. Jay Johnson goes nuts if he had to miss 4 games. So he's not suspended. The team gets the win. Aaron Beatty, obviously the co-player of the week in the SEC. And Ronnie, we were talking a minute ago. There have been a lot of great baseball players at LSU, a lot of great guys that could hit the long ball. No one ever hit 4 in a game until Aaron Beatty did it. The power the other way is just amazing. And when I think of Lyle Mouchon and Brandon Larson and Cressy and there's so many others, you think, hey, certainly, or Joey Bell even, somebody would have popped 4 out the park. But nope, Aaron Beatty, the only one in the very storied history of LSU baseball to do that.
The first home run he hit, it wouldn't have been out of Alex Box Stadium. They have a short fence out there in the power alleys in particular. But the others would have, the others were legitimate home runs. But that said, it's incredible. This is a guy in Aaron Beatty who was not having a good year. I mean, he basically lost his starting spot, coming into this week. He was the backup catcher. And, he was hitting okay. Had he been on a team where guys were hitting like they're supposed to, Aaron Beatty probably wouldn't have been a DH yesterday. But because, they've got a number of guys that are struggling, he had the chance to DH. And, boy, it ended up almost costing LSU when Omar left the game with the head injury or out of abundance of caution. And all of a sudden now they had to play their third-string catcher in Eddie Yaman, who did a heck of a job and who's had some moments, this year. This was his first time in a big pressure spot, and he played fantastic. He brought a spark to the team. So All of a sudden now LSU's got 3 catchers. They don't just have 2.
Yeah, no, that was good to see. That was the silver lining of Cerna having to go out. You had to put Yaman in, and he did well, and that'll give himself some confidence and all of that. You played Bethune-Cookman. Now, Bethune-Cookman's 22-10. They're in second place in the SWAC. Okay, it's the SWAC. I get it. And they just beat Southern over this past weekend. So, Bethune-Cookman, aren't you on the call tomorrow night for that game?
Yeah, Lynn and I will be on the call tomorrow night. Hopefully that's LSU takes care of business, and it's a short one, but that hasn't really been the case on Tuesdays. Usually they'll take care of business. They start slow. I'd love to see LSU start fast tomorrow for a change. Usually they kind of sleepwalk through about half the game before they turn it on in these midweek games. But I got yesterday was so special for so many reasons. There were so many storylines to that ball game. But the things that came out positive, you had a really good Gavin Guidry gave you 5 1/3 really good innings, only gave up 1 earned run in those 5 1/3 innings. That was his best performance of the year. Aaron Beatty had a record performance. You had Eddie Yaman Jr., who comes off the bench, hadn't played really much. I don't know if he's had an SEC at bat this year. He ends up getting 2 hits off the bench and playing good defensively behind the plate. You had Fontenot gave you a nice little start to the day. Grant Fontenot has got the lowest ERA on the team with a 1.5. He's got the lowest earned run average. He's been a nice surprise. So there was a lot of positives. I mean, in the fact that they hit 6 or 7 home runs, Tommy? I think they hit 6 home runs for sure.
I got it right here. Let's see. We got by the way, Milan made his first error of the year. Home runs 1, 2, 6, 7, because Dardar also hit one. Dardar 1, Aaron Beatty 4.
Okay.
Pierce and Milam hit home runs, and Milam did get tagged with his first error of the year, but made many other good plays on the weekend there.
So 7 home runs. It's incredible. Milam's error, by the way, he was going to try to get a 6-4 put out, ball in the hole to his right, fields it cleanly, just threw wide of the bag. I mean, and Dardar hit his glove and he could have caught it, and maybe a better second baseman probably catches that ball, but it was the right call. I mean, it was an error. It was a hard error to give, but it was an error.
Yeah, and some errors are very hard to give because when you think of certain things, but you gotta call it, and they made the call. So LSU now 6-6 in SEC play, and they go to Ole Miss in Oxford this weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So Rebels are ranked 25th in the D1 poll. LSU's 24. So it's going to be tough in Oxford with Coach Bianco and the Rebels.
Yeah, Ole Miss bounced back. They were swept at home against Mississippi State 2 weeks ago. They took 2 out of 3 this past weekend. So it's
in Gainesville
against Florida. It's just such a strange. Here's why my bet may be in jeopardy. I have a big bet with Casey McKenzie before the SEC season. I have LSU winning 14 or fewer games in league play. He's got them winning 16 or more. 15's a push. You won a game the last 2 Sundays you shouldn't have won. You're down 7-0 to Kentucky late. You're down 5-0 late. You shouldn't have won those games, but you did. Plus, you look around the league. Yes, Georgia's really good. Yes, Texas is really good. Alabama's the 3rd best team right now. Alabama, that's a surprise. They weren't expected to be like that. Mississippi State's good. They're 7-5. But there's teams like, how about this? Florida goes to Arkansas, sweeps Arkansas. Then they come home against Ole Miss, who had just been swept at home against Mississippi State, and Ole Miss wins 2 out of 3. Last week, Mississippi State goes to Ole Miss, sweeps Ole Miss, and then they get swept this week against Georgia. I mean, this league is wild, and because of that, Tennessee's having a down year. Their bullpen's just dropping the ball for them big time. Because of that, Ole Miss got off to a slow start. Because of that, maybe LSU can somehow find a way to get to 16 wins.
Well, Ronnie, after this coming weekend, we're halfway through the 30-game SEC slate. So, it's very hard to figure out, other than Georgia, who's really good. We know South Carolina's really bad, and Vanderbilt's struggling. But, it's going to be an interesting second half of the SEC schedule. LSU can get 2 out of 3 against Ole Miss. They'll be in the hunt.
So talking about we got Bethune-Cookman tomorrow, of course, at Ole Miss. Going to be a great game. Mike Bianco, former LSU player and coach, going against Jay Johnson. Remember, there were a lot of people wanting Mike Bianco to be the coach instead of Jay Johnson, including Skip Bertman. Mike Bianco interviewed for the job. They met with him. They met with his agent in Birmingham, Alabama, and they didn't get an offer. And then they went and interviewed Jay a few days later. So how things might have been different, although Mike won a national championship the very next year at Ole Miss. So everybody's gotten a national championship. Mike a little bit probably on the hot seat just because he's been there forever and ever. He probably needs to make the postseason to just ensure himself. But it's going to be a great series. Let's talk national championship. Let's go to women's first, basketball. Nobody saw this coming. Not a surprise that UCLA is your national champion and that they beat South Carolina in the finals. But how they did it, they won by 28 or whatever, but they were up 30 plus most of the game. It was crazy.
I got to see some of that game, and it was total domination. South Carolina had 2 points in the third quarter with like 20 seconds to go, and a girl hit a shot. I mean, the defense by UCLA was incredible. By the way, final women's poll, LSU number 8 in the final poll, about where you might think they would have been. And the portal opens tomorrow in basketball for Kim Mulkey's Tigers and, of course, Will Wade's Tigers. Quick footnote, Tennessee women's basketball, as we speak, as we're doing Sports Shorts Monday, they have 0 players on the roster. 0. They all either exhausted eligibility or went in the portal. And it's such a rich pride and tradition with Tennessee women's basketball. There's 0 players on the roster. Now, that's going to change, but today that's what it is.
That's not a surprise. We've seen that many different places. We saw that here. Look, Will Wade, I don't know if he's going to have anybody back from last year. He might keep one. I know there's like really one player that they kind of want. So yeah, this is good. This is commonplace that the rosters just completely flip from year to year.
Well, and coming up in about an hour, Michigan will play UConn for the men's title. Michigan a 6.5-point favorite. I took Michigan minus 6.5, 146.5 on the over/under. So the men's title will be tonight, and then the portal flies open tomorrow. They're talking about 1,200 people going in the portal.
Tommy, I know that Michigan is a 6.5-point favorite. They should win the national championship. They're a great team. But man, I'm not going to bet against Connecticut. That program is just that program, right? I mean, it's like LSU baseball, right? I know you're not supposed to win, but they got a system. They got a great coach. They play for each other. They do it the right way. It's just hard for me to go against Connecticut.
Yeah, well, it's what they call it gambling, I guess. But Michigan's just so good on both ends of the floor. They can run the floor. They're tall. They're long. They're well coached. Their coach turned down North Carolina, who, by the way, hired Mike Malone, former NBA coach, who won a title in Denver, an NBA title. He was hired by North Carolina today. With the portal opening tomorrow, they had to make a move. So Mike Malone will be the North Carolina coach. But, Ryan, we talked about it the other day. That Tar Heel blue, that don't matter anymore. It's about NIL and portal and all of that. And this is the first time they've went outside the box, not hiring somebody from the Carolina Blue family or a former player or former assistant. They stepped out with an NBA. Guy's got an NBA title. And, of course, that would attract players because you can say, I can help you get to the NBA. I know everybody. I can call all the other teams and talk to them. That helps a little bit, I think. So that's what you got.
Clearly, North Carolina's got a system, right? They went Bill Belichick, same kind of thing, non-college guy, and now you're going with Malone, an NBA guy, a proven coach, a championship winner. So they got an impressive staff. Again, I just unfortunately, and look, now's the time for North Carolina to do that. Nobody cares anymore, that your daddy played here, your uncle, somebody. Like, it's straight. The first question is, okay, how much is the bag? What are you going to give me? And then it's all the other stuff, right? And so I'll be curious to see how this works. And it's all going to be, it's not really about Malone. It's going to be about the GM, right? Who's that GM that's that has the money and is putting the pieces together, just like in the NBA. It's not so much just about the coach. You got to be in lockstep with the front office. So great
Well,
story there developing.
And then, as Saban said, it's a two-part thing. You got to pay the players, but you got to pay the right players. You got to get the correct guys that can win.
Well, Tommy, how many times have we watched, in whether it doesn't matter the sport, where guys go out there and they sign, the top free agent, and the guy doesn't play well. You know what I mean? Like, they can get hurt. They can, have marital problems that lead to being distracted or whatever. Like, it's just because, at some point, all the great players don't become great anymore, and so you can sign all the players you want. Doesn't mean they're going to have good years. Look at LSU baseball, #1 portal transfer class in the country. And right now, if you were to rank this portal class, they ain't a top 20.
Ronnie, things change in a hurry. Cal Raleigh of the Seattle Mariners, second in the MVP vote and hit 60 home runs last year. As of today, he's got 0 home runs and 20 strikeouts, including 7 in a row. Here's a guy who was runner-up to the MVP.
He did have one throw. Did you see the throw last night?
No.
Cal Raleigh threw out a guy at second base. It was probably the greatest throw I've ever seen in my life. When I say, Tommy, the guy, I need you to Google it after we get off the air. His throw. The guy didn't move his glove, and when he caught the ball, the player slid right into the glove, and it had to be absolutely perfect, or he would have never got it. It was bang bang, like ball in glove, foot on glove, like, and he had the glove right there, at the base, like right at the base, right where the foot touches the base. I mean, it was the greatest throw ever.
I
can't remember the player who got thrown out. Like, he stood up and he just stared at Raleigh and just he couldn't believe the throw.
What was kind of like when Bo Jackson threw out Harold Reynolds. Nobody could believe it. He threw him out of the plate. So what catcher at LSU had the greatest arm you've ever seen or played with?
The guy who had the best arm was Adrian Antonini. Now, he wasn't the best catcher overall, but as far as best arm, Adrian Antonini. Yeah, then he got drafted after. He was a catcher 91 and 93, and in 94 he became a bullpen reliever and got drafted by the Rangers as a reliever. As best overall catcher, I mean, defensively, the whole 9 yards, is a tough one. Michael Papierski is a guy who's in that conversation. One of the best catchers that didn't play was Ryan Jorgensen. Ryan Jorgensen was the backup catcher to Brad Cressy in 2000, got to the major leagues and didn't start at LSU. He was really good defensively.
I remember Coach Bertman telling me one time that Cressy never had a pass ball. I said, Coach, come on, Coach. In 4 years, I'm betting you he had a pass ball. He goes, I don't remember it, TK.
Let me tell you something. I heard. I guarantee Brad Cressy remembers it because Skip let him have it the first 3 years. But anyway.
Anyway, Ron, it's Masters Week. Practice rounds underway today. Big crowds. Tournament obviously gets underway Thursday. Sam Burns from LSU golfer is playing. And first, we said this on the radio the other day. First Masters since '94 with no Phil or Tiger playing in the event, either one or both of them. So we'll see what happens. I'm gonna tell everybody there's a Masters app. It's free. Go get the Masters app. I do it every year, the week of the Masters. There's nothing you can look at highlights. I mean, go get that free Masters app. You can delete it Monday and put it back on next year, but it's got everything you need to know about the Masters with videos, obviously
it's
the leaderboard,
greatest app. It's the greatest app that exists. It's so perfect. It's the quality is amazing. The ease of use is amazing. If you want to watch certain holes, if you want to follow certain players and groups, and I mean, it's incredible, Tommy. It's. I'm not necessarily a giant app guy, but this one is amazing.
Yeah, all you golf fans out there, get the app. You'll be glad you did. You'll get it every year. I mean, you really will. One other quick Major League Baseball note: Tampa Bay Rays returned to Tropicana Field today. Hurricane Milton tore the roof off and did significant damage to that building. And they returned to the field today, a packed house, sold out, and they beat you and Hunter McCann's Cubbies 6-4 in the return to Tropicana Field down there in Tampa. They played at the Yankees spring training complex last year while the repairs were being done. So that was a game earlier today, so that's already a final. So it was kind of cool. I saw the beginning of it when they showed, like they did one of them videos where it shows the progress, like in 1 minute of what took a year and a half. It was kind of cool to see that.
I can't wait too for their new stadium. They're finalizing all the details with that. They're going to do it in Tampa, and much needed. It'll change that franchise. It'll
Well,
change that franchise.
and they struggled with crowds. For 5 years they were a playoff team, not the last 2 years, but it was good to see a sellout there today.
Yeah, no, it's been it'll be back to 10,000 tomorrow, but today's a sellout. All right, Tommy,
All
tell
right,
us
right.
about Court Street Cafe.
Yeah, we can do all that. Obviously, 7 days a week: breakfast, lunch, dinner. Saturday night is steak night. The Sunday brunch here is awesome. 805 Court Street in Port Allen. Plenty of parking. I got a little patio out front. When I got here today, some folks were having a few Monday afternoon cocktails on the patio. Check out Jason and the staff, Court Street Cafe. Follow them on Facebook and Instagram. Keep up with the lunch specials, dinner specials, drink specials, you name it, here at Court Street Cafe in Port Allen. Been our home on Mondays for a long, long time. And once again, most of you know, but Sports Shorts now is Sports Shorts Monday at 6:30, Sports Shorts Friday at 9 a.m. And don't forget about the Baton Rouge Rougarou and the Lake Charles Gumbo Gators of the Texas Collegiate League. On behalf of Ronnie Rantz, I'm Tommy Krysan. Have a great day, everyone. Great evening, everyone.